Um, welcome everyone to. This is going to be like a kind of a weird video to make. Just want to say welcome everyone to the channel. If you guys do enjoy this sort of content, remember to either like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to be talking about how I personally dealt with addiction. This is kind of something that I feel God has kind of set me tasked to do, is to help people. I'm not going to go into like sort of this whole sad aspect of. I'm going to obviously talk about addiction in itself, and but I'm not going to try and make it like a feeling sorry for me sort of content. This is more of a content to help people out, so to say. Especially when it comes to addiction. Now, I know addiction could be many things. You could be addicted to stuff like drugs, alcohol, sugar, lust and adultery sort of things. Try and keep it as PG as possible. But I'm going to give sort of like tips and hints that God put in my path to deal with addiction. So I'm going to go to a bit of like my personal side of things. I was a smoker for, how long has it been? I started when I was about 16, 17, so I'm now 27, nearly 28, so it would have been a solid 11 years of my life. I know some people have smoked decades longer, 20 years of their lives, nearly 30 years of their lives. I know some people have got addictions to higher things. It could be heroin, it could be alcohol. Now for me, before I took to a follower of Christ, I was heavily smoking. I was smoking weed for, I think, when did I start smoking weed? I probably was about 18 when I started smoking weed. I was about 16, 17 when I started smoking cigarettes, 18 when I was about smoking weed. So that's a solid 10 years of my life as well. And I know like weed's not like a hardcore drug, so to say. Weed is not, or tobacco's not. It's legal. It's legal to smoke tobacco. But with the side effects of cannabis, it can be one, costly. Two, it can cause a bit of depression and anxiety. Some people smoke weed to, they say, escape from their depression, escape from their anxiety. It can certainly make you feel lazy. I used to smoke weed, stream games, play games, stream. And I used to have kind of like mini panic attacks, so to say, while smoking weed. Not on stream, but I'd kind of like bait out on like, I've smoked way too much. Should I be streaming? Am I comfortable to stream? And when I was smoking a lot of weed, I was like kind of, because I live by a busy road. I was hearing police cars all the time. I was thinking, what if the police come into my house and I'm high as a kite and they arrest me for having weed in my house? So I was going through all of these sort of emotions towards the latter stages of smoking weed. And I knew that I had to quit. And so I'll go back to when I quit smoking cigarettes. When I quit smoking cigarettes, I was moving over to vaping, and I was getting really bad with vaping, because I was just vaping in my room. First thing I would do, wake up, grab my vape, hit the nicotine, go to gym. I was doing this with weed as well. I was going to the gym, I was being active, but I was like, with the vaping, it was so easy, accessible. And I remember I was at work once, going down some stairs, and I felt like these heart palpitations. And one of my mates turned around to me and said, "Oh, you look like you're about to have a heart attack or cardiac arrest." And I went, "Whoa." And he went, "Oh no, I'm just joking," and walked past me. But in my head, that scared me, because it was like the reality of the last 10 years, all I've been doing is damaging my lungs. Being told that is like really scary. So I was at work once and I was vaping, And I just remember looking at my vape. I had a mini panic attack, and I just launched the bastard. Sorry for swearing, but I just launched it, threw it away, and I was just like, "What am I doing?" And funny enough, when I went back to smoking, I felt a lot better. I work in a warehouse, so like my vape would be getting clogged up with a bit of dust. I clean it out, obviously. You know, sometimes you get burnt coils, and then the liquid turns a bit brown, and you're smoking a bit of old liquid here and there. It's just not nice, you know, and it's battery as well. So I went back to smoking cigarettes, mainly rolling tobacco. But I noticed that, you know, I still felt really unhealthy. I could hardly breathe. I was breathing, but my breathing capacity now is way more better than what my breathing capacity was when I was smoking. I probably wouldn't be able to do all that and talk. I'd be able to go like to a certain level. I could feel it. It's now October the 10th. And I want to say I quit smoking around about March this year. So it's been a solid like 10 months. A good 7 months. Yeah, so like I can sit around people that smoke. I can sit around people that vape. I don't get drunk anymore. But before I became a follower of Christ, when I used to drink, it was really hard to, because I've tried quitting before. I've gone like, this is my last pack of cigarettes, and then I'll smoke the last one, you know, quit for like 3-4 days, go on a night out, you know, I'll be like, oh, I know I'm going to want some cigarettes. Because every time I get drunk, I was like, oh, the nicotine would hit, like the nicotine craving would hit. That's something for a cigarette. And then it got to a point where I just buy packs of cigarettes before a night out, and then you smoke it. And then you'd be like, what am I doing the next morning? You've got like a pack of 10 left, and you're thinking, and this is where I woke up one morning and I was just saying like, I'm done. I'm done with smoking. So I'll go to the point of how I actually got around to quitting smoking. So what I used to do was, when I buy a pack of cigarettes on a night out, I'd used to kind of wake up in the morning and the next morning and go, right, I've got about 10 left, let me scrunch up them 10 and I'll throw them in a bin, break the cigarettes down, throw them in a bin, in a public bin or whatever. But the addiction was still there. So when I used to go on the walks to work, I would go past the corner shop, I'd go and buy a pack of cigarettes or some tobacco, rolling tobacco, and I'd feel this, like God was telling me at the time. He was just saying like, what are you doing? You want to quit, but you're spending more money on tobacco. Are you crazy? And I'm there like fighting between the flesh and God, and I'm there like, no, I'm gonna smoke, but I want to quit. And I'm just saying like, what do I do? And this was going on for months and months and months, and I just went back to smoking. And it came to the point where I was spending money literally smoking one cigarette, not even one whole cigarette sometimes, and I just looked at myself and I crumpled the whole 20 up, or I got the pouch of tobacco and I emptied the tobacco inside of bins, and I'm just wasted. Like a pouch of tobacco, a 30-gram tobacco costs around about £20, and a pack of cigarettes costs about 20 deck of cigarettes, like, you know, sterlings or whatever, costs about £13-14 for a pack. Anyways, so I'm going to the shop back and forth like every day. You know, I'll quit for 2 days, go back to the shop, go buy another pack. Stress would hit you. And it got to the point where my flesh and God were on the same track. God was telling me, don't go and buy cigarettes. What are you doing? You're wasting your money. Think of what you could do with 20 quid or 15 quid. Yeah, of course, yeah, I could probably go and get more food, healthier food, what I normally do that a week. Or if it's a 20 deck, it's that every like 3 days, 4 days. Okay, cool. Like, you know, I'd kind of realise I'm wasting money just to throw money away. I'm wasting money to throw it in a bin and crumple it up in the bin, as a matter of fact, and empty a pouch of tobacco. And it was the same with weed. Like, I'd probably spend about £30 a week on weed, which is like, 3.5 grams. It's not a lot. I used to buy like half ounces and split it out between a month. But when you're on the wages that I'm on, you've got to make things last, especially when you've got bills to pay and you've got, all this other stuff to pay when you're an adult. And I looked at it and I was just going, because a week, it was like £20 on tobacco, £30 on weed, maybe £50. I might get like a Q or something. So you round that up, that's like, let's say £50 a week, that's £200 a month. Wow, I'm thinking £200 out of my wages just to smoke myself away. What can I do with £200 a month? At the time I was learning to drive as well. I was thinking, like, I could afford a really nice car, like save up for a half decent car for like £200. Anyway, so when I was going to the shop, I remember this first time vividly. There's a garage literally around the corner from mine, and I was walking there. After a few attempts of literally going to the shop, buying cigarettes, smoking like a quarter of it, throwing that away, and emptying a packet, like grabbing the cigarettes, crunching them up and throwing them in the bin, having enough. It took me about 3 or 4 attempts. And I was just there like, no. I literally remember walking to the shop and I was going to grab some cigarettes, and God was telling me, what are you doing? You're going to do this again? Throw away 20 quid? And I remember I got to the shop and I asked him, I was like, have you got any sterling jewels? And he turned around and said, oh no, I ain't got any left, but would you like something else? And I went, nah, I'm good, innit? I'm good. So I walked away. I was like, okay. And I remember walking to Tesco's and I was there like, what am I doing? I literally remember about to enter the doors of Tesco's and I just went, nope, turned around, went home. I was just there like, okay, now I'm serious. So my advice to people to get over addiction, one, I would say you have to want to quit. Now, I'm not just saying, oh, I want to quit, but I can't quit. Because you can't quit. Is your body not wanting to quit? You might think that you want to quit, but you got to really want to quit. You got to think about your life. You got to think about your health and your fitness. You got to think about your family. If it's a serious addiction that affects your family, like gambling, and it could be drugs and it could be alcohol. You've got to think about it financially. Because financially, gambling ruins people, alcohol and drugs can ruin people. Financially, smoking can ruin your back pocket, just smoking cigarettes. So my next advice is think financially. You have to want to quit. But also, the main cheat code is, let's say for example, okay, we'll switch up to alcohol then. If you have an alcohol addiction, when you go and buy a bottle of vodka or a bottle of whiskey, just grab the whiskey, and if you have to go and buy the physical bottle in itself, grab it, look at the bowl, and pour that sucker on the floor down the drain. Even if you have to do it 3 or 4 times for you to realise, why am I going to waste £20 I've worked for just to pour alcohol down the drain and not get a sip of it? You may as well just grab 20 quid and just throw it in the bin or throw it down the drain. Because once you've actually physically emptied it, or emptied the packet, or emptied the bottle, if it's not going into your system, you're still going to hit that same, I'll just get one more bottle, next time I get a bottle, that'll be my last bottle. Next time I get a packet, that'll be my last packet. Because it never will be. It never will be. Because you're allowing yourself for it to go into your system. And then not only that, you're spending money. When I used to tell people I'm throwing cigarettes away, they'd be like, no, just finish the packet, man, it's a waste of £20. Exactly that point. And what people don't understand is, psychologically, that ruins you as well, knowing you're just throwing away money. And that's how I beat addiction. You know, and people might joke around again. I know that weed and cigarettes is not like the highest addiction. There's addictions like heroin, cocaine, alcohol, gambling, lust and adultery. But I tell you what though, quitting smoking is one of the hardest things to do in your life. One, it's legal to buy tobacco. Past the age of 18, you can go and buy tobacco. It's legal by law in the UK. You can actually smoke at 16. So not only is it legal, and same with alcohol, most people smoke at work. Most people will go to work, smoke a cigarette, do their job, go on break, smoke a cigarette or two. I mean, I remember the days of literally smoking 2-3 cigarettes in like half an hour. I'll tell you what, the sensation on your lungs is just terrible. Not sensation, it's just a terrible thing. Yeah, the main cheat code is, okay, cool, let's switch it to a drug like the white powder. I don't know if I'm allowed to go that far on the internet or not. If you end up spending, I mean, this is just from like people and I used to know that would do it. Now, it's not cheap, really not cheap. Even for the bad stuff, it's not cheap. You spend 60 quid on it and you really want to get away from that stuff. Don't say, John, this will be my last stuff. Throw that that bag in, not just throw the bag in a bin. You'll be tempted to take the bag out and just rack it up again. Empty the bag in the bin. And watch yourself, realise you're just throwing money away. Money you might need for bills, money you might want for a social event like playing bowling or going to play a game of pool or going to chill with friends. And that will bring on to my last subject actually, sociability. Now you are who you hang around with. You know, I'm lucky now, I'm in that situation, I can still hang around with friends that still smoke and not really need to kind of go, oh yeah, that's cool. I've been around them friends many a times recently and I've gone, no, I'm alright, I don't need it. Because mentally, God has got me up here. And you know what, finding God is a massive thing as well. Like, I can't explain, like, obviously to me how much he has helped me and realize on what I need to do to be able to be a better man of myself. But going back to the people you hang around with, it's like fruit. If you got fruit in a fruit bowl, like let's say you got 2 oranges next to each other, one of the oranges is moldy, that orange will pass on to the next orange the same moldiness, and then that orange will pass on to the banana or to the apple mold. You are who you're going to be hanging around with. Their temptations are going to be there, especially if you're fighting an addiction. So sometimes you even need to escape that friendship and say, no, like, I can't be doing this. I can't be going out on the club on Saturday night because I have an alcohol problem, or I can't be going to a friend's house to play Xbox because I know that we're going to be smoking weed all night as well. I'm being serious. This is what has helped me the most, and I hope, you know, I pray to God. I pray that this will help at least one person out there that suffers with an addiction. You know, because sometimes these AA meetings, they don't work. Sometimes going to the doctors don't work. You know, sometimes it's learning from someone. It's like learning from someone that's been through it is the best way to get ideas on how to escape or how to quit substances. again, I know that it's harder. It's really hard just to watch money be thrown in a bin. It's hard to watch money be chucked away. It's, you know, can you imagine if a homeless guy has no money or is begging for money, and then all of a sudden gets the money, goes and buys his fix, and then he looks at it and he goes, I'm going to chuck it away. Because they're going to look at that and go, I can't even afford to waste £20, whereas I could. I could literally throw £20 away and know that I've still been getting paid, and therefore it's nothing to me. But I still managed to fight an addiction over a 10-year plus addiction, and it was a strong addiction as well. Like I have addictive personality. My next addiction is sugar, you know, and sugar is highly addictive. I mean, I remember in my bedroom there was about, if you're from the US you might know what celebrations is, but I mean during Christmas I had about 3 or 4 tubs of Celebration. I used to smoke weed, eat them, play PlayStation. Within a month I went through 3 tubs of Celebrations, the round tubs, and in the corner shop they sell them for like £3 or £4. I'm looking at it going, the sugar overdose, the acid reflux, the heartburn, the insulin probably raising through the roof. You know, I like, you know, I eat a lot more healthier than I do ever done. You know, my diet is brilliant now, but you know, I still like eating dates. I've got some organic dates right in front of me. It tastes like toffee, which is quite dank actually, but I just hope, you know, I pray that this video helps someone. I normally make gaming content. I normally like try to, you know, make content that's not really useful, but I enjoy. And this is sort of the content I want to do. You know, I want to produce content that's going to help people. I don't care whether I've got 5 subscribers, hundreds of thousands, millions, or, you know, it helps 1 person, 10 people, whatever. As long as this kind of is a sit down on a one-to-one where, you know, people aren't getting offended and they can see that I'm trying to give advice to help those. That's all that matters at the end of the day. That's all that matters. But yeah, if you guys do enjoy, remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I do stream over on Twitch. Links will be in the description below. I will probably be playing games over there. That's where, like, you know, I like to chill out and play FIFA, play some COD or some single player games. But if you guys obviously got any personal questions or you want some advice from me, you know, I won't be sharing out personal information with people, so like, you know, don't worry about like obviously what stays in our conversations will stay in our conversations. But if you guys have got any questions or anything, you know, whether you drop me a follow or not, I've also got Twitter down there as well, so if you guys want to talk about anything personal, by all means, I'm willing to help. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.